to the LammiCast episode 2. They're both laughing at me, so I'm laughing already. Donald Driver and Carley Sanfilippo, but I'm going to give an actual full intro to Donald Driver. Green Bay Packers all-time leading receiver, Super Bowl champ, Dancing with the Stars champ, Ambets Humanitarian of the Year, and New York Times best-selling author, and more.
The list goes on.
God, it just never ends, do it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for joining us. Just tell us what drives you. You're doing 1,000,001 things. What drives you, Donald Driver?
Man, what drives me? Wow, that's a good one. I'll say this. I think for me, it's just the deniability. I think when people tell me I can't do something, the biggest thing is to prove them wrong, right? And so, you kind of nailed it when you talked about the history of where I come from and where and where I've been, and I don't know where I'm going to this point, but we'll see. But I think it's the drive. The drive that I have is I don't let people tell me I can't do something that I want to do.
Right on. And that's true to this day. You have quite the business empire, which is getting bigger and better every day. Let's talk about some of these, amazing things that you've done.
Shoot, here we go.
First off, still in the business realm.
See what I'm saying? It never ends.
Winning Dancing with the Stars. So that kind of like launched you into a national and an international personality. Tell us more, Dancing with the Stars.
Man, I would say this. Dancing with the Stars was different. I think it was just a different opportunity for me to get my story told, but then get myself out there. And so, I don't think that would ever happen without Team Lammy. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there, right? Team Lammy got the opportunity for me to be on that show. And I think from that, it was just a great opportunity for me to be able to go out and just let people know who I truly am, right? I think that was the whole message behind why going on that show, but then also to win it, right? And I think the fun part is that I didn't know that I can win more money by staying week after week after week. So I think that was the part that kind of took me to the level of now it's more of a competition than just an opportunity for the word of my life to get out there. So it was fun. It was unique and different. But I think once they told me how much money I can win every week, I got a little bit more excited. Yeah, and then I got more competitive, right? I think that was the fun part. I got competitive, and Peter just was like, yeah. And I'm like, Peter, do you get paid? And she was like, what do you mean? I'm like, do you get paid? She said, oh my gosh, Donald, yes, I get paid every week we're on the show. I'm like, well, let's go make some money. And so it was a great experience for me. It was a great experience for her. And so to win our first time going out, her first season. And then, as you know, she became the face of Dance with the Stars. So great opportunity for us.
You also met like a ton of your close friends on that show too.
I did, yeah. I think I'll say this. Carly, it was different because I had a pleasure, to meet one of the greatest icons as far as Motown in the world. I never thought in a million years I would have got a chance to meet Gladys Knight, right? My mom, my grandparents, they grew up listening to her music. Yeah. And so I remember when I first walked in the studio, I was at awe. I'm like, that's Gladys Knight. Is that really? And then she was like, hey, baby. How you doing? I'm like, oh my gosh, how you doing? And just to have that open conversation with her, I'm like, are you on the show? She was like, yeah, baby, I'm on the show. I'm like, I can't wait. And it was so amazing that my kids got to call her Grandma Gladys. And it was like, we just had a blast. And so to meet so many people, Sherry Shepard, my good friend to this day, Gavin DeGraw, Jaleel White. The show it goes on and on of some of the greatest people that I've had the pleasure of meeting, but never in a million years thought I would be that close to that many celebrities. So it was good experience.
And one other kind of cool business thing that you've been doing for quite a while now and have had some huge success, including the new location opening at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Tell us more about Driven Elite and how you're actually in better shape now than you were when you were playing football.
I don't know about that one, B-Lam. Better shape than I was when I played, but I just wear tighter clothes. Everything went from large, extra large, to large, to now I'm in what they call the medium. Okay. So I'm in a more of a medium fit. So it's but I think it's been great for us. I think I don't know if I ever had the vision of where this could go. I thought owning my own gym would be fun and having the resources that I needed to make sure that every single athlete had the pleasure of having the top medical as well as strength and conditioning in the history of sports, right? I thought that would be the key. And then it just kind of took its own legs, right? And so from there, we were able to say, let's open up multiple locations. And I'm blessed to now say that, we'll have 2 locations. The sports performance model will be at the Performance Center at Canton, Ohio, at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And then we'll have the boutique model of Driven Elite Hit. It's officially be the first franchise location. I can't wait to get that off the ground and running.
Very exciting. And when you are going a little bit more formal, you've got your own shoe line that you and your son, Christian Driver, kind of created. Talk to us about moral code and the success you've had with Zappos and Kohl's and everything.
Yeah,
else.
no, it's been a unique journey, but it's been fun. I think this is something that Christian and I think we always wanted to create it, right? We love fashion. We love the unique side about just being able to wear whatever you want to wear and be authentic to who you are. And so we kind of said, listen, let's present this to where now we get more Black and brown people just wearing more presentable when they go out, right? And so we really kind of put the niche on those avenues, and it seemed to work out in our favor, right? And so from there, we had the pleasure of sitting down with Kohl's, and Kohl's said, hey, listen, we'll put the shoes online and in the stores. And then from there, Zappos has been selling like crazy online. So we don't know where this is going to go as the future continues to move on, but we're excited about the journey.
Well, I'm about to turn it over to Carley, the best interviewer here.
Uh-oh.
I have
Here
one
we
last
go.
question. And this is maybe a good segue, because Quickie Book Series, kind of business, but a whole lot of good that you're doing in the community.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how Quickie started, what it's up to now.
Man.
It never stops.
Quickie start. I don't even know
It's
what.
up to a lot
Yeah,
now, though.
yeah. I don't even.
We
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah. That's right. I'll say this. Quickie was a storyteller. Like that was all I was. It was me telling Christian stories, making up stories as I played the grandma. Right. I used to go to bed with him and just like him and Charity and Christina, and I still do Christina to this day, where I play the grandma scene. Right. I tell the story and I'm like,
Oh, hello there. Oh, baby, it's going to be okay, right?
and so I used to do these skits so they can go to sleep and feel, and they were like, Dad, do the grandma, and I'll do it all day long. And so that's kind of how Quickie got started, was to just start telling stories. And the first book was, Quickie Makes a Team, just giving people an opportunity that, hey, anything is possible if you put your heart and soul into it. And so from there, I was like, okay, what's next? Like, right? And then the next one was, Quickie handles a loss. And what I realized that during that time, everyone's going to lose something in life, right? It's just kind of, what do you do and how do you overcome that, right? And so we really wanted to put like a positive message always at the end of the book, not more the sad stories. But Quickie loses the playoff game, he loses the best friend, but at the end of the book he gains a puppy, right? And it's a new experience, but then he learns the responsibility, because having a puppy is a big responsibility. I think my daughter's realizing that, Christina's realizing that now, because we're all gone.
Realizing that now. Shout out producer Abby.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody realizes it now. They were like, oh, I want a dog. Let's get a dog, right? And then, boop, now you got to take the dog out. It's a human. Yeah, it's a human. So I think that's the part that we really realized that it was exciting. And then Quickie goes to the big game. I think we all dream of playing in some championship game. And Quickie's dad get the pleasure of playing in the Super Bowl for the first time, in the Dream Bowl, and Quickie plays in the Dream Bowl. So each one of those books had a great message behind it. And last but not least, as you know, Quickie stands up to a bully, right? That was the main topic that was going on in this world. And it wasn't just the kids. It was around the corporate life as well. And so we were able to really just kind of put a pinpoint on, we should all step up. And now Quickie is kind of taking its own little course to something bigger and better, right? And so I've always dreamed of this. I think, me and you went to LA and met with some of the biggest producers and directors of TV shows, and each one of them kind of said, no, or let's think about it, bring some other ideas to us, and then we had the pleasure of partnering with the Marcus Performing Arts Center, and from there it said, hey, listen, what if we create a play behind Quickie? And that kind of took me to a whole nother level of where this is going to go. So I'm excited that Quickie Dream is coming to, I guess, to the stage.
First stage.
first stage. And so we're excited about what this is going to entail. And I can't wait for tickets to go on sale because it's going to be a great opportunity for people to really see kind of the ins and outs of Quickie's life.
And we were at that first script reading, and they were incredible.
They were good.
They were so
they were
good. It was the first one. I was like, this is only going to be or get better and better.
Yeah, no, it was good. I think Carley was like shocked at first because the person from the distance, the guy that actually played the dad, and kind of played me, right? It was kind of like he played it like he was live, and I mean he kind of like the energy was amazing. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's gonna be. I just can't wait to see it after it goes through multiple trials, and then once it goes live, the cast is phenomenal.
Can't wait to see it.
Yep.
Love it.
Well,
This is your first time, Carl. So now hold on. I guess I'm gonna ask the question now. Are you nervous? Is this nervous for you?
No, I'm not nervous. I feel like I interview you all the time.
Yeah, that is true.
So it's no secret that you are Wisconsin's favorite person. I mean, everywhere we go, everyone is screaming Donald Driver, wanting pictures, getting hugs, whatever. You're so ingrained here. Why do you love Wisconsin so much? Why does this matter to you?
Wisconsin gave me I guess Wisconsin made who I am, right? I think the roots from Houston is kind of like what you have, but being in Wisconsin kind of gave me the platform, right? The life that I thought I'd never have. And so from there, it just kind of took its own legs. And I've always felt that you have to embrace the community, right? I mean, the people that give you so much, you got to give back to them. And so my mom used to tell me that all the time. She said, there's going to be a time in life where you're going to have to give back to people. And so I said, well, why not? Mm-hmm. Why not do it? And did I ever think in a million years that the fan base will be as it is today? I would have had no clue.
But it's because of you. I feel like it's because you do love them back, and you give them all you got. And I think there's a lot of players that don't offer all of that. And I think you're still you're here once a month, twice a month. Like you're still here with the band.
I'm still here.
You actually never leave.
That's true. That's true.
That's why he's got his own house here.
Yeah. No, you're great. I don't know. I think that's the fun part about it, right? I think that's what's. I don't know if I would have thought that after I finished playing, that I would still have the popularity that I have or the love. I never thought that would be. But I remember, and I'll say this, me and Bart Starr shot a commercial together for the Packers, for the Packer Pro Shop one year. And I remember us sitting on the couch and we were kind of talking, and then we ended up sitting at a table where they had us almost like we were playing chess or something, right? And I remember asking him the questions like, people really love you here. And he said, well, this is my life. And I was like, huh. And I think I took that to heart. Was like, okay, maybe I need to make this my life too. Mm-hmm. And from that point on, I kind of took it because I remember asking him, the Packer Pro Shop was like, hey, Donald, you wear Bart's jersey, Bart wear yours. And Bart was like, I ain't never put on another player's jersey ever in the history.
No thanks.
And they were like, well, this could be the first time. And he was like, no, I never done that before. And I remember us saying, like, do we switch jerseys? And he was just kind of like sitting there like, and he was like, I really don't know if I want to do this. But I think, and I can't remember if we ended up switching jerseys or not that day, but it was a great experience just to have that connection with a guy that had built an amazing platform here. And I'm so glad that I can follow in his footsteps.
Well, you talked about embracing the community. I think you really do that with your Driven to Achieve Awards. You give so much back. We're going into our 10th year, which is crazy.
I know.
I wasn't even here when it first started. Now I feel like I'm a really big part of it.
You are, and I think that's what you got to remember. Like I think our whole team has been phenomenal. Like I think me and B, it's funny because we were actually just sitting together at lunch one time. I think we wrote most of our stuff on a napkin. Like, hey, what's next for the next 20 years? Like we had no clue that the Driven to Achieve Awards will become. And I'll say this: that we had a vision of what it could look like. But your help and the rest of the team has taken this vision to a whole nother level. And so, now going on 10 years, and when we ask the question, like, what's next? And so that's your question to ask yourself, right? It's like, what's going to happen next for Driven to Achieve, or do we even do something, a foundation, right? It's been around for 23 years, and we've given millions and millions of dollars away. And it's been a great journey. And I think we're going to continue this journey. And, now you look at it's crazy because we got a new logo. Like, that's sick for me.
Established 2023.
Yeah, established 2023. New logo. So, and this is the thing, and I'll say this, is that logo was my first choice. No, it was my second choice. That logo was my wife's first choice. And so we started asking questions to the kids, like, what would you choose? And Christian was like, I like that one. I like the hand, and he was like, maybe it's wings. And, because we kind of talk about what I think strong minds, strong hearts love it, And it was just like, how do we do this? And then we just really started to wrap our head around the whole logo scene. And it's phenomenal. And it was, you guys did a great job by creating the content for that. But yeah.
So Bettina ultimately won that one.
She did. She won the battle.
Shocking.
Yeah. Ain't the first time. Well, yeah, it may be the first time she's won an argument in a very long time, y'all. So I'm kind of picky when that's true. No, she wins them all. But yeah, no, that was her first choice. And I think it was able to tell the story of what the Don't Drive Foundation has been for a long time.
Well, the foundation has been around for a very long time, but so has your partnerships with a lot of these brands that you are part of, and Goodwill being the longest standing one. You just signed an extension with them. Do you want to talk a little bit about, your love for Goodwill? And
yeah, I'll say this. I really have to take my hat off to them because they found me when I was just this little scrawny kid from Houston, thinking at that time I can just play some football. And thought I could maybe one day be a hell of an actor, right? And so it kind of started with, put me into, and I think for me it was like going to an event for the first time and had no clue that you go, they tell you you're going to be there for an hour or whatever, 45 minutes. And I ended up staying there for, I don't even know, 2 to 3 hours and signed every autograph.
3.5 hours.
To be exact.
Which doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I was like, we need to go. But that's the Donald Driver experience.
Yeah.
And
I'll say this,
delivers.
I was new, right? I was new to it. It was me and we had just got together, and I think it was just like, wow, what am I doing? And B was like, look, we can't do this. Like, you gotta be in and out of here, baby. You gotta go. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go.
That's my move.
Hey, that's his move. Like, hey, he look at you from the back like, let's go. All right. You get that little eyebrow up, like, hey, let's move it, kid. And so, Goodwill's been great. It's been 22 years. Yeah. 22 years. And so, and now we have an opportunity to continue to impact and touch the lives of so many people for the next, 6 years. So, I don't know. It was funny because I was telling Jackie that, it's gonna sooner or later it's gonna come to an end, right? And there's gonna be a new young person that's gonna step in and hoping, I don't think anyone will ever fill my shoes at Goodwill, but it started with Mr. White, and then now Jackie and the people, and you have to give it off for Pat Bolter that pulled me and grabbed me and said, let's do this, and Angela Adams for now pushing it forward to make it continue to happen. So I wouldn't be, and again, I don't think I would be able to have all these partnerships if I didn't have the one that built the foundation for it, and Goodwill did that.
And another big one, Network Health. They have been in your life for a while. They were just a presenting sponsor of your softball game. Huge supporter of you.
Yeah, Network has been phenomenal. I'll say this, is that I never thought I would ever get into that world. Yeah. Especially not in the, the health side, the insurance side. Like, I don't think I would have ever got into that world. But I remember me and Kareen we had a great relationship just as friends. And I remember at the induction, when I got inducted, I'll retire, right? She said, you know something? You're going to be my first. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Like, what are we talking about? She's like, you're going to be our first partner. And she said, we're going to do this journey together. And I was like, okay. She's like, here we go. We're going to do a 4-year deal. I'm like, boom. And now we're in year 2 of our new 4-year deal, right? And so I'm just like amazed by the relationships. But again, I think it's, you treat people with respect and you love on people, people are gonna love you back, right? I think it's your brand, who you stand for, and that's what has been great. And I think Kareen and Penny has really stepped up and just really took this thing to the next level.
And again, I think it's your personal connections that you have with the people that brought you in. I mean, you were at Kareen's daughter's wedding, Angela's 50th going away party, or whatever it was. I mean, you just love people, and people feel it, so they want to keep working with you.
Well, you again.
I guess you know
I know how that works. You still love me. Y'all still love me. I'm still a part of
She
Team
hasn't
Lammy.
left yet.
Team Lammy hadn't left me. I ain't left Team Lammy. So no, I think again, it really it's the relationships you build, right? I've always talked about this. It's like these are the main things, right? Identity, relationships, and purpose. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm going to be true to who I am. I'm not changing for anyone. It's just you see what you get, right? You open up the door. You got to make sure behind that door is what you want. And I'm going to always be open and transparent with myself. And I think we built some great relationships together. And so it just continues. Now the question is what we continue to have our purpose, right? What our purpose is. And I think we've solidified that, and it just gets better and better and better.
Northwestern Mutual, they've been a huge supporter of your German 2 awards. You were obviously very close to John Schlifsky and the team.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a lot of stories behind that one, right?
A lot.
No, I'll say this. Northwest Mutual's been a phenomenal partner, right? And I'll say this, for them to step up and say, hey, listen, we're going to be a part of this. And before that, they were always great. I think when I was, having 1,000-yard seasons, they would invite me in just to like do a Q&A and speak to the employees. And then after winning the Super Bowl, we'd go back and do it again. And it just seemed like we was able to build that relationship that became stronger, right? There was a thread that wasn't loose in that at all. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to continue the partnership. And it just seems to like continue to grow and grow and grow. And then an opportunity came to where they could be the presenting sponsor for the Driven to Achieve Awards and the foundation. And I'll say this, they didn't even hesitate. Mm-hmm. They didn't waste any time. They said, yes, we're in. And now, we're looking at this is that it just continues to build. And so it's going to be, I think it's going to continue to be a long relationship together. I don't think it's going to ever end. I think it's just finding what both of us need to make this thing expand. And so we're excited. We're excited where we're going to go from here.
I think one of my favorite give back things that we've ever done at Team Lammy was when we were painting houses with Northwestern Mutual out there.
Gosh, that was a good one. Yeah, it wasn't cold. It was kind of like a little chilly early on, and then to sit behind and paint some people's houses that in the community that never expected us to be there, right?
Just randomly showing up.
And I think they expected Northwestern Mutual to be there, but not me, right? And so that was a great time to just give back to the community and say, hey, listen, we're here to support you just as much as you support us.
Yeah. Great. Okay, you're ready for this one. Cousins. You love cousins.
I do.
This is a very fresh thing to you.
Well, I'll say this. I don't know about fresh to me. Like, it was not fresh on the menu, right? It was like, it was something that I've always wanted to do. And then I'll say this. Early on, it might have just been, I would just want to own a franchise. Like, oh, yeah. Like, yay, own a franchise.
They didn't want you to.
I don't know if they didn't want me to, and maybe they didn't want me to, right? I don't know. Again, it depends on who was who was over that time. But it was amazing that the number that was in my phone, that had been in my phone for a very long time, was now the CEO's number. So I don't know if she was, like, oh, he's not serious, or is it really him? But I really always dreamed that I would own have some franchises. It's just, I didn't know what they would be. I'll say this, I'll be very open. It was crazy because I always, I grew up on Golden Corral. That's what I grew up. Every Sunday after church, our whole family was at Golden Corral because that was the thing you can buy and you can pay for everybody in your family and you only spend $100. And we eating good. And you eat and you try to hope and pray that you can take some out of there without the people saying, hey, ain't no carryouts, right? So that was always the one I always wanted. And somebody ended up putting one in Green Bay during the time that I actually tried to buy one. And the person asked me to buy it and he's like, hey, $1 million. Well, at that time, I only had 200,000. That was my salary. That was.
Take everything they got.
And that was it. If they just took my 200,000, I probably would have been moving out of my house, living in the construction building as they were doing it. So I'm glad that I kind of didn't go that route, and I waited. I waited for the perfect opportunity, and cousins come up, and again, it was at the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame golf tournament that I had the pleasure of reconnecting. Mm-hmm. And then that kind of said, hey, listen, let's meet. And it took over a year to figure out what the relationship was going to look like. And again, I didn't want to be a franchisee, right? It was more like I wanted to be a partner. And again, sometimes we feel like we're not welcome at the table. And I just kept, chipping away. Right? I just kept chipping, hoping that, they would sooner or later see the sculpture that I'm trying to build, right? And so after a while, they saw it, and now.
Now all we have to eat is cousins all the time. There's no other subsidies coming through this house.
None. I hope y'all see that. Remember that. If you ever see anything else in this house, and they post it, I'm firing everybody. Everybody are getting fired.
Well, I do feel like shifting gears,
Yeah.
people are going to want to hear a little bit of football before we unfortunately have to wrap up, because I feel like we could talk all day.
Appreciate that.
But we at least need to talk about all-time leading receiver in the history of a 100-year-old franchise.
Yeah.
Did you ever think, being unfortunately homeless in a U-Haul truck, Fifth Ward of Houston,
Come on, B.
this
No.
would be where you end up?
No, not in a million years. Never thought again I would ever be in that position, right? I think I always dreamed of playing in the National Football League. Never knew where I was going to go. And then opportunity, right? You get drafted. Now you get here. You're like, okay, how do I stay, right? And so for me, it was making myself indispensable, learning the playbook like the back of my hand. And I think from there, I just wanted to play. I just wanted to make enough money that my mom and grandparents didn't have to work another day in their life. And I did that, right? I did that on my first contract, and from that it was just like, okay, how do I build this legacy, right? I got the contract now. How do I build this legacy? And it was to beat every single record out there. And I knew certain records I probably was never going to get, especially like the touchdown record. Don Hudson holds that, and I'm like, that'll never happen. And so there was just certain records that I was like, okay, do I have a shot? And I think when I got to like year 7, 8. That's when I realized, like, I had these back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. I was like, okay, I'm on like 2,000 yards from James Lofton. Like, can I really get this record? I'm like, all right, I'm going for it, right? And so you just start thinking about the legacy that you can, that you can accomplish. And then Sterling, and I remember Sterling saying, listen, if you catch that catch, you better score, right? And I remember catching Aaron throws me like a little flat route to the sideline, right, against Detroit. I catch it, I break the first tackle. I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm for the score. And then I got swarmed by 6 guys, right? Stopping me at the 3-yard line, pushed me back. And I was like, wow, I broke his record. And then the consecutive, right? The record that stood forever, the 100, and I think it was 103 catches consecutive. And I slaughtered about 133 before my record before it ended, right? And I never thought, and again, I thought that record would continue as until the day I retire. But I remember like it was yesterday, the day I didn't get a catch in the game. And that's just unheard of. Mm-hmm. But it was against the Vikings, and I remember my record got slaughtered. And I remember going to this locker room like, this sucks. Like, I don't have a catch. And at that time, my career they were transitioning to new guys, and I knew that was I didn't think it was gonna come like that, but it did, right? And so I was okay with it. And so when the time happened where I became, consecutive catchers, 133, all-time Packer League receiving franchise history in catches and yards, I was like, well, is there anything else, right? And then from there, I just started thinking, could Canton, Ohio be the next one? And
well, you got your first step.
And you're there.
Yeah, I'm there, right? I told him, I said, my feet are on the property now. I do this. I say this, the Black College Hall of Fame actually put a picture of me there, right? So I'm already
there.
I'm there. But I think to solidify my legacy for the Green Bay Packers will be to get the gold jacket. I think that's it, right? And again, I think if there was I say this all the time, if there was a blueprint that said, hey, Donald, you got to have 1,000 catches, you need 15,000 yards, and you need 100 touchdowns. Well, I'll still be playing today because now I know that that's what I need to get that jacket. It was no blueprint. I thought being a 7th-round draft pick from Alcorn State University, HBCU,
yep.
and to go on to surpass some of the greatest Packer players in the history of that franchise, to be at the top of that list now, I thought, well, that's all I need to do. Right? And so I was able.
A lot of people thought that. That's all you have to do.
And you think at that point, it's like, now I can retire. I don't have to go play for another organization because I'm not chasing anything anymore because I've done it. And I was hoping that after 5 years, I'm going to get that jacket, like it's going to be smooth. And boom, my name was not on that first ballot. I was like, oh, well, it was on the first year. And then the second year I wasn't on. I was like, oh, no, this sucks. And then after that, year 3, year 4, and I've been on the ballot ever since then, right? So will I get that call? I don't know, but I've always said this, and I said it to Ron Wolf too. If I can just go in, and Bob Harlan, I said this, if I can go in the Packers Hall of Fame, one day that would be the greatest thing, right? And so I've accomplished that. Now I'm in the Black College Hall of Fame. So now,
It's really only one more step.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I think at first I didn't care for it. You know, like, oh, no, I don't. Now I'm like, I deserve every bit of it. And so that day will come. I just told him, I'm like, if you're going to not let me in, just tell me. It makes it easy because then I don't have to wear the pressure of not going in, right? I can just say, I'm not going in. I'm okay with that.
Sometimes it takes voters a while
Yeah.
to get it
Yeah,
right.
every
We
year you're
saw
on the
that
list.
I know,
Every year.
right? I'm like,
with Jerry
yeah.
Kramer. Sometimes
I
it takes a while.
I
Hopefully
agree.
you're not waiting that long.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to wait until I'm 80, right?
Yeah.
Like, even though I love that number, I don't want to wait until I'm 80 to go in. I would love to enjoy
Yeah.
this like all my counterparts have done. It, you know, and I look at all these guys that got jackets that I played against, and it's phenomenal to watch them. So again, and I think there's some receivers that hadn't got in that I think deserve to go in, and they probably deserve to go in before I do. But again, I think I deserve to go in.
Last question, only because we have to wrap up. There's another elite wide receiver out there, Christian Driver.
Oh shoot.
Tell us what it's like to watch him be on that journey, but really all of your kids as they've had success in so many ways. How is it now to kind of lift them up and see their successes here in sports and outside of sports?
It's great. I think I look at the foundation that we put, right? We've always said, you know, we put God first in our lives, and then from there, everything else in our family is secondary, right? And so I think we've kind of paved the way, that foundation for our kids to say, hey, listen, if you believe it this way and God has you steady and you're strong in your faith, then everything else is possible, right? And so I think Christian had to realize that. It was hard for him in the beginning. It's like, oh no, I'm just doing this on my own. I'm like, and then injuries start setting in, and he started getting injury prone, and he was never getting over that hump. And I said, well, sooner or later you got to thank God, because he could have ended it. He just gave you, he just nudging you a little bit, allowing you to understand where he's going with this. And so now you can't stop him from picking up his, his Jesus calling, his Bible, and reading his Bible all the time. And he'll send us like a group and say, hey, this was the message today, right? He had to really find that, right? And he had to find his own legs, and he's been able to do it. And so I'm excited for where he's going. And the same thing with Christina and Charity, right? I mean, I guess we got athletes in our family. That's
Yes,
a good thing.
the
athletes started way before us, right? My dad and uncles and aunts, they all were athletes. And I think for me, it's just like I paved the way to go the furthest. And now I can see my kids doing the exact same thing. And so it's just a journey we're going on, man. And it's exciting to watch them from a distance, right? But now I'm the biggest cheerleader. Cause,
Yeah, you don't miss a game.
No, I'm not going to miss a
You
game.
have to plan everything around those
love it.
games.
Yes, you do. So all the people that's listening, you want me to come, make sure that once September hits, don't ask me to do nothing on Friday,
Bye
Saturday.
week's the only week he's
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, bye weeks only, baby. Bye weeks only for the next 4 years. Because Christina gonna be running track. That happens in the spring. We're gonna be okay. And then Charity play basketball. So, so it's been great, man. It's been a great journey. I love it. I get to sit back and just enjoy it all.
Well, I love it. We get to end with football, family, faith.
Yeah.
And that's probably a perfect way to end it. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast, but thank you for everything you've done for me, for us. You've changed lives. You continue to do it for all of us and so many others. So thank you.
Thank you, Team Lammy. Hey, y'all like this. This is a Team Lammy podcast, baby. We're here.
LammiCast.
Oh, LammiCast. It's not a pod. Oh, my fault. It's the LammiCast, baby. My bad. I love that, though. That's a sweet logo.